I har lyst til at starte aftenen med lidt champagne. Det lyder dejligt.
Jeg skal bare have en dansk mand uden citrus.
Uden citrus, ja tak.
Ja.
Hæft, det er godt det her.
Ja, det er sgu synd, du er så fornuftig.
Men spørgsmålet er, hvad der i virkeligheden er fornuftigt. Der findes en norsk filosof. Han mener, at mennesket er født med en halv promille for lidt.
Altså, jeg må sige, jeg kunne da godt sådan bruge en halv promille sådan på daglig basis for at få lidt mere selvtillid.
Det har vi da alle sammen brug for. Det har du da også brug for. Jeg synes, det er spændende.
Det gør jeg også.
Er I fuld?
Nej, det er vi ikke.
Forklar det for børnene, hvad sådan her.
Jeg bliver lidt fuld.
Jeg hele tiden synes, det var fint, at I eksperimenterede alt muligt, men det her, det er ordentligt.
Jeg går ikke ud fra, at der er nogen her, der har et problem, jeg skal vide noget om.
What a night, what a beautiful, beautiful ride. Don't know where I'm at, but I'm young and alive. What was they are saying, what a life.
That's right. What a
Good
beautiful
trailer.
life indeed.
Yeah. I didn't know whether they were going to include like the second half of the movie when things really start to like spiral and crash. So I was like, what are they going to do? Are they just going to make this movie look really fun in the trailer? And you're like, I'm here to see a bunch of people get fucked up. And then you go into the theater, you're like, oh, nah, fuck.
Oh, no. Consequences.
The producers would not have let that happen.
Yeah, they want people to see the movie. Come on.
Right. Well, this is movie night, drunk extravaganza. I am here with. I'm not even drinking, and I already made that joke. I am here with Forrest Miller, now banned from Twitter. That's what I'm going to go introducing myself as from now on. Yes.
You have to change your name now to Never Flacco.
Your handle there's off. Yeah, true. Actually, I should. I mean, no.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who's Never Flacco? I don't know who that is. I'm not evading a ban. I'm off to a great start here. I'm here with J. Andrew World, artist, illustrator, Ben Burgess collaborator, cover illustrator for books, everything. There's a whole list of different artistic visions, artistic skills that you have.
Yeah, usually 2D though, although I have dabbled in 3D stuff. But yes, I am quite artistic.
Did you make the art? Wait, did you say artistic?
Yes.
All right. I was gonna say, did you make the plastic gun that? Never go full artist. Also joined Protonic Reversal host, Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends, new project out on Bandcamp. All kinds of things. I didn't write notes for today, so
it's called Action Chief, and Alan Parsons has projects. Conan Neutron has bands. Thank you very much. But yeah, I'll do it for 2022. Just want to say this is one of my favorite movies of the year that it came out, and although it did get some nice Oscar wins, wildly underrated, especially American audiences. But don't worry, because they're making an American version, and that's bound to be terrible.
Yeah, with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Whoa! Why not just have Mads Mikkelsen? He's got American appeal.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes no sense.
He's always a bad guy though. Like what's he gonna do? Like, you can't drink the alcohol.
Let's just be glad it's not Will Ferrell. And do we honestly believe that? Leonardo DiCaprio would say no to alcohol at any point? I don't think that's true.
Well, hey, if that's your metric. But yeah, not to immediately dive right into it. But as much as I love this movie, I was so sad when I found out. I was like, oh, that's such a bummer to me, because I thought this movie was really great, and I think one of the reasons why it is really great is because of the unique cultural relationship with drinking that comes out of it. And it's one of the reasons why it works, and I don't think it'll translate to a U.S. remake.
Yeah, and swimming in the fjords. I mean, like where the hell are they going to film it where that's believable?
Exactly.
Alaska, the intercoastal waterway. I was going to say in the backyard where Sarah Palin sees Russia from.
But anyway, I thought this was a wildly underrated film somehow, even though it won an Oscar for I forgot what it won for.
I think international film, right?
You know what? Yeah, it got which is like the participation trophy of the Oscars, pretty much. But yeah, like it should have been nominated for Best Picture, frankly. I feel. But
The one time they tried to dabble in a movie that wasn't made in the United States, obviously, was Parasite, getting like the best director and best like movie or whatever. And Trump, if you remember, got so pissed off about that. And I feel like the backlash from that, they're like, maybe let's not give put movies like international movies onto that list for
Sunset Boulevard.
Whatever happened to Gone with the Wind? But of course,
we are at 9 minutes for our first Forrest Trump impression. Just mark that.
Mark the time.
That was pretty good. That was quite a while.
Yeah, I'm learning discipline slowly. Not enough to not get banned.
You're not on Twitter. You're not.
Of course, also joined by Christina. Christina Oakes. I'm Christina on Twitch and on Patreon. You can find her making videos, making content, reacting to stuff. And
yeah, I gotta put this on. I gotta clip this from my Twitch stream from last night. But I read the entire Rolling Stone article to the shocking revelation that Restore the Snyderverse was mostly fake.
So you're telling me it's like the K-Hive?
Yeah.
Hey, no, wait, whoa! They're gonna come for this stream now. They got me banned on Twitter.
It's like Candyman. You can't say it more than too many times in the appear.
But of course, we're really bearing the lead here. It's the return of our champion, Matthew Film Guy. Contributor on Majority Report, editor of Black Bear. Has a film class all over Letterboxd. Sometimes we agree with him on this podcast on Letterboxd. Sometimes we don't. It's always interesting. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well. Really great to be back with you guys. Looking forward to a wonderful and rewarding investigation of this recent masterpiece.
One of my other favorites of that year was actually Black Bear too, which I'm gonna mention pretty much every time I can. So.
You're really nursing that bottle of Firefly, huh? By the way,
we have to talk about drinking when talking to Phil about drinking.
What was the one from his birthday?
Yeah.
That we all made fun of him about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, which I had like one shot before that, and then I drank most of it on my birthday.
What is that exactly, Firefly? Is it sort of spiced whiskey?
It's a TV show. No. Nathan Fillion was in it. It was a really sci-fi show.
It's unfortunately, it's vodka with natural flavors.
Oh, okay. And what are those natural flavors?
I don't know. They're
Arizona
not bad.
iced tea.
They almost cover up that vodka aftertaste. So,
it's literally like Arizona sweet tea. I've had it before. It's like Arizona sweet tea flavored.
Or like Arizona sweet V. Am I right? Yeah. Anyway.
Well, certainly it is a big step above bacon vodka. I can tell you that for certain. You may find videos on my Facebook of me, and I think are on YouTube too, of me partaking of bacon vodka, which surprise to nobody, it tastes like salt.
I should have committed to the bit and pretended I had snorted the alcohol before this because
I'd forgotten about that bit.
Whatever that super fancy deep frozen vodka that they drink at the dinner, that made it look like I have to have some of that at some point. But
it looks very glamorous. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Very glamorous.
Yeah, and they go to Smirnoff's, which is fine.
Slightly less glamorous, but not.
Is it though, or is it rubbing alcohol?
Drink that moonshine.
I have a place to start this with, though. I guess the theory that they have.
Oh, we didn't start.
Okay. I was gonna say. Oh, good. None of that was on air, huh? All right. Good.
No, to start
that was terrible.
Mulligan.
Welcome to Movie Night Extravaganza. Their theory obviously is 0.05% alcohol. Your body is born with not enough alcohol, I guess, like an absence of it, which I'll go with that theory, but I guess that's a real theory by a Scandinavian.
People who can't eat anything with bread in it, like any yeast. Did you ever hear about the people who get drunk from like intaking yeast? Like their body breaks it down in the way that it like breaks down alcohol, and so people who seem to be drunk are not actually drunk from alcohol. It's just they can't have like bread.
Yeah, is that a thing, or is that somebody covering up their drinking problem by being like?
No, it's
the Wonder Bread.
No, it's a sourdough. Okay,
it's a condition. It's kind of like I'm like, oh man.
Are those people cursed or are they lucky?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good question.
I think making fun of
Let's go to Subway.
Making
Life's
fun
a lot
of my
cheaper.
drinking making fun of my drinking is ableist because this is a dietary condition. So
Hey, no carbs.
There you go. There you go. What's this for us? What are we looking at?
Oh, so
what do we
this
have
is
here?
based on a real theory, and this is the guy from TIFF interviewing the director and Mads about the theory.
I think that guy likes Osmani Sembene, but go on.
This is the same guy that interviewed the Beetlejuice cast when we watched that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say this dude. We've seen this guy before.
I'd like this.
Sure.
I'd like the show to get to the point where everybody that does film interviews, we're like, oh, I know that guy. That guy's from this place. Like,
so it's Vinterberg and who's the director and Mads. Okay, let's roll it.
I just had to look at my own country. We drink a lot in Denmark, but still we talk a lot about health and about a reasonable, well-behaved life. So there's sort of a gap between our behavior and our wishful thinking of our behavior. But then I came across this theory from a Scandinavian philosopher, thinker, who said that human being was born with a lack of a little bit of alcohol in the blood.
So this theory is real. This is a genuine philosopher.
It is actually. It's a theory that comes from a man who actually claims this and protects this idea that if you've been drinking a little bit, your mind opens up. You don't look back. You become more receptive to other people. You become more creative. And he points at big. Well, we all point at big elements in world history. We've been discussing if Churchill was a little bit drunk when he decided to send 250,000 civilians into war. We know that he was a little bit drunk every day, so there's a good chance that he was drunk at that moment as well.
I heard he drank a bottle of dinner every day.
What if he was not drunk? Would he have done the same thing, which was a crazy thing to do, which changed world history? And again, what if Adolf Hitler had been a little bit pissed? Would he have won?
Right. Okay.
There you go.
Nervous laughter for drunk Hitler.
Well, I mean, it plays over great in the classroom. I think that's one of the most successful scenes in the movie, where you kind of see him starting to get his stride for it, where he's making a perfectly valid point that anyone that pays any attention to history, not the History Channel, would know those.
What? There's a difference.
Exactly. But
aliens didn't discover everything. Didn't.
But the whole conceit. The whole conceit of it is that it makes them, more relaxed, charismatic, and better teachers, better at their job. That's the theory, right? So you get to kind of see it in action. I think you ultimately see everyone sort of take on it, but I think, of course, with Mads' character, it's probably the most pronounced, and the fact that he actually becomes he gets out of his head just enough that he becomes actually really fantastic as a teacher, and the kids actually get it and becomes beloved because of it.
Well, as the only woman on this panel, are you guys familiar with the different archetypes of a drunk female?
No. Well, I
don't want to.
You have the happy drunk, the sad drunk, the angry drunk, the girl who turns into a stripper drunk, the roller coaster drunk. There's so many out there.
These are all sitcom tropes. These are sitcoms.
No. If you come from an alcoholic family, you experience those tropes firsthand from relatives.
This isn't a How I Met Your Mother episode.
No, but I mean, obviously, but I'm just saying the archetype version of it, right? I think.
I thought you were going to say the strained credulity to believe that Mads Mikkelsen's a teacher that people wouldn't pay attention to because he's a handsome fella.
I mean, that too, but,
When he's in his dour mode at the beginning, he does a very convincing job of displaying a kind of checked out, depressed teacher that you wouldn't want to listen to. So that speaks to his acting chops.
And everybody kind of seems that way that he encounters, right? In the beginning, at least, it seems like his friend is Tommy, I guess, is the friend that's the gym teacher. And he's divorced, and his wife or girlfriend or whatever has left him, and they talk about that. And the other guy, obviously, Nikolaj, when they go to dinner for his birthday, he's talking about how the babies piss on him and stuff. And honestly, one of the One of the
Yeah,
funniest
that's okay.
lines in the whole movie is at the end where he's like, well, everything's gotten better since I stopped pissing the bed or whatever every night. Like, my family likes me again.
And they
but,
say
like,
it's the little things that make a big difference.
But his wife seems checked out. His kids kind of seem checked out when he walks in, and he's like, "Oh, I'm leaving for the night or something." They kind of aren't really paying attention to it.
We don't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
His students seem checked out. Like, everybody involved in this kind of seems checked out. And I mean, I wonder if that is a thing about like making commentary on kind of Scandinavia and I mean the world in general. But like this kind of like it's kind of an uneventful, or at least portrayed in our media and stuff. It's kind of uneventful and like more of a quaint culture, I think, than our. Something's always going on. Someone's always getting shot. There's always like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like maybe in this kind of late time in history, I guess, it's like things are just going and going and going. And we saw that with we were talking about Time Bandits the other night, right? Like we saw that in that movie too, with the family kind of just sitting around like watching TV, zoned out.
Oh, sure.
And, like,
yeah.
And
probably the first time those movies have been in the same sentence for ever, I would say. But yeah. Yeah, like that disconnection, but it's not even this disconnection. It's like I think you hit on an important point that it's a quieter country, right? Like when he in his history class, right? He's talking about, of course, Churchill, like FDR, Hitler, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, the one thing that's like noticeable is like where are all the like the local figures of history? Well, it's not as exciting. It's not going to catch the attention in the same way, and that's the thing that like a lot of the Nordic countries have struggled with in recent years, and why it's interesting where like things like Netflix have like tried to like bring some of their more interesting exports to American audiences and things along those lines, because that's a pretty big change, outside of things like obviously like Ingmar Bergman's like The Master, right? Like you have like notable exceptions, and actually I think Vinterberg's great. I mean, The Hunt is amazing. I think it's a fucking fantastic film, but ultimately it's a quieter type of country. And by the way, if the exchange is shootings every day, or like maybe like life is a little less interesting, I'll take the life is a little less interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just saying, like, when making commentary about everybody kind of being in this state of like checked out depression, and but I mean, it is really notable that in the first scene, right, they managed to hug the cop and then handcuff his hand to the rail. And in my head, while I'm watching that, I'm like, yeah, that wouldn't happen here. The cop would just whip out a gun in the middle of that subway and be like, "Fucking untie me."
You'd have to have a Pepsi.
yeah. But I was watching somebody that parodied that the other day. The boys parodied that, where they had 8-Track walk up with the energy drink and hand it to the cops. But like, I don't know, like the cop was just like kind of like, "Oh, please untie me, like trying to get out of the thing. Like, no, that cop would be killing somebody at that moment in America. Like, that's unheard of.
Yeah, and Denmark is one of the happiest places to live.
Unless you're Mads.
Yeah. No pun intended.
But yeah, I mean, and I think that it does speak to like where you can kind of come up with the philosophy, like, well, people need to be more gregarious, I guess, right? Like more socially inebriated. They need to be more, social. And it's like, well, that's where I guess that theory comes from. We're born with it, which, I mean, obviously scientifically doesn't pan out, but like, oh, well, humans should just have a little bit of alcohol in them at all times. Makes you more free-spirited and like more socially aware, I guess, and not so
and buzzed.
Sour.
It kind of reminded me a bit of that Dave Chappelle Pop movie. The one
Half
where they're
Baked.
stoned. Half Baked. There we go.
The one where they're stoned. Right, that one.
Sorry to limit it down so much. It was
One where they're stoned
on
and he
air.
doesn't get upset about pronouns.
The Pop movie. The one where they're stoned. Yeah.
With Dave Chappelle. Like, he's done what, one?
So anyway,
but no, what I was getting at is it just, the theory reminded me very much of like, pot's natural, so you got to drink pot. Yeah, don't drink pot. You got to smoke pot.
You gotta drink pot.
You're getting potted up on weed over here.
Here, I thought I was gonna be the most out of everybody today. I mean, I guess, yeah. The Jon Stewart thing in there where he's in one room thinking about how to he's in one room in that movie thinking about how to like connect with his son, and his son's in the other room smoking weed and like thinking about like whatever else. Like they delivered to both of them. Like I do see, I guess, that similarity, but this movie seems a lot more good.
Grounded.
Yeah. You think?
You know,
Maybe.
choose the parlance of our times. Good.
No, but like I think it's an interesting philosophy, and I think that the drinking culture. I mean, this is the second clip from right after this.
Yeah, because it wouldn't work. So let's put it this way: it will not work when they attempt to remake it. It's not going to work in the same way because there's not the same relationship to alcohol culturally.
Oh, our relationship to alcohol is not only abhorrent; it's violent, it's destructive. It's a big thing, obviously, where he wakes up and the dog's licking his face, which is kind of a cute scene. He wakes up with the cut and the dog's like kind of licking it.
Speaking of like difference in culture, Denmark has some of the highest rates of teenage drinking in the world.
Well, what else are you going to do there? I think. I mean, that is a thing. No, I'm serious about that. Like you see that with like upstate towns in New York, right? Like there's a lot of drinking there. I mean, there's a lot of drinking everywhere, but like when you're kind of
drinking over there, and they're trying to raise the age to like 16 or 18, and I'm like, no, Denmark, you're one of the happiest places in the world. Don't.
Because of that, because your kids are drunk and nobody has to do it.
And they got that free health. They got that good healthcare too if something were to happen. So yeah.
There's no critical race theory because no one can remember. No, I'm kidding.
Because there's no black people.
Well,
there's that too. Yeah.
There was that one extra. We saw her in the movie.
They don't want to be shirtless.
But yeah. So this is a clip where they're discussing drinking culture. And I think it's actually a really funny clip. He tells the story about his grandmother and the lake run. I think it's his grand. I don't know, but sometimes it's hard to understand the accent. But
Well, it's your film, but I think I can answer it. Yeah. I can make a comparison. You know, if you work in France and you have lunch, you have a 3-set meal, and then you have a really nice bottle of red wine on the table, and everybody drinks a glass of wine, and everybody's happy and go back to work. If there were bottles of wine in Denmark, people would stay until all the alcohol was gone. It's a very different approach, and we compared stories the other day from our childhood when we were young, how we were introduced to alcohol, and it's quite brutal for American or Canadian. I think it would be brutal stories the way we embrace alcohol in a very different manner.
Mm-hmm. I had a guest in my country. She's called Jane Anderson. She's a wonderful writer. She wrote The Wife, and she stayed with me for a couple of weeks in Copenhagen. And one day she asked my daughter, "So, Nana, what are you going to do today?" And my daughter, who at this point in time was, 65 kilos, including her school bag, she said, "Well, I'm going to do the lake run today." And Jane said, "Well, so what's the lake run?" "Oh, we have to run around the lake and empty a box of beer on time."
Yes.
And Jane looks at me and she's like, "When is this guy going to interfere?"
Right.
And I was just laughing a little bit. And she said, "Aren't you going to get sick, Nana?" And Nana said, "Yes, but if we vomit in sync, time will be deducted." And Jane was very, very frightened.
It sounds insane.
And then she said, what about the police?" She said, "Since I didn't do anything." And then Nana said, "Oh, but the teachers are there." and then, and suddenly I was realizing there's something in this country which is rather unique. And but then again, usage of alcohol is
universal, but
it's socially accepted everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's in different ways. Obviously, culturally, it's in different ways. You go to Japan, it's a different story. There's a hierarchy as well, where if you go to a business meeting, you have to drink as much as your boss. And if your boss happens to be a guy or a girl who's a very good drinker, you're in trouble, right? So there are different cultures when it comes to alcohol, and ours is unique in its own way.
But Cameron, this film is not only about alcohol. This film is about being alive.
Mm.
This is about being awakened when you're sort of dwelling through your midlife crisis or
That is very key, and that's one of the reasons why I love the movie. And I think it's something where whether it's like middle-aged mediocrity that you're referring to, or people just being able to get enough outside of themselves to realize that, you know, maybe life isn't exactly what they thought it was, or it didn't have to be what it is. I think that's the more poignant aspects of this film.
Well, maybe it will work with Leonardo DiCaprio. He just
On that score, do you guys mind if I just briefly read my little short review that I wrote on Letterboxd after I watched this the first time last year?
Yeah, for sure.
To that, and I think that's a really important place the conversation should go, not just about the alcohol per se, but
or what a kilo is in pounds.
Yeah, no, we
Which I looked it up, by the way. If you're wondering, it's 143
I
grams of
wasn't.
cocaine.
I wasn't.
Nobody was wondering that.
But
just
thank
to be
you.
clear. But
Thank you for
and I also have the after you read this, I also have where they delve more into this, so we can extend the conversation to that too. So I'm
awesome.
Excited to hear this.
I wrote, "Holy shit, that was awesome! The kind of film that honestly makes you just happy to be alive, knowing you're fallible and weak, knowing you will fuck up, but that those things don't have to be a living death sentence. Sweet but unsentimental, serious without being morose, and funny as hell without being cheap, and an ending that has one foot in the ecstatic and the other in the delightful bliss of oblivion. Wow. A modern antidote to a plethora of modern diseases of the soul. Thank you, Thomas Wittenberg. You finally got to make You're the Idiots and practically did your buddy Lars one better by making yours more subtle. Oh, and to alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems."
Yeah.
And I watched it again today in parts, and I don't think I feel any differently. I think, if anything, the fact that I was able to be moved and so just totally affected again, even knowing where it was going, I think speaks to just how amazing and what a rare accomplishment this movie is, that it takes a kind of high concept, wacky sort of midlife crisis movie and makes something, I think, that counts as serious art, that isn't giving you a cheap answer. Alcohol is good. Alcohol is bad.
Exactly.
You know, you're wasting your life. You didn't waste your life. Youth, maturity. It binds those things all together and does not give you a simple answer. And yet that dance at the end, which I don't want to spoil anybody, but that moment at the end is one of the most ecstatic moments in any film. And it could just tip on the side of like too happy, and then he dives, and you get this implication that, oh, well, maybe is it oblivion? Is he celebrating, or is he annihilating himself? And in a way, when you drink, that's what you're doing both times.
Yeah,
it's bypassing the ego, to be sure. I mean, like, but, you know,
it takes you through the full spectrum, and I think you need the full spectrum of emotionality to live in the world, right? Like, you need the full spectrum of like the moment where he confronts his wife, and you can tell that it's something that's been coming for and it's violent and it's angry, but like the moment he confronts his wife and hits the table and, you know, says, "Are you seeing somebody else?" You can tell that that's a conversation that's been building for years. You know what I mean? Like, it's something he suspected, and he's so depressed, I think, and out of it at the beginning of the movie. Like, it's almost like he doesn't even care that might be going on. And like that cathartic release, as rage filled and as I think violent in that moment as it is, on top of kind of, you know, the point about excess and not going over the top. And there's the moment where, you know, he's like, "Whoa, I want to keep going higher and higher," which is not a thing you should do if something's working like that. Like,
being high on love.
But you can kind of tell that each of these states that he's in is offering a different mental point for him, and offering a different moment of the soul, and enlightening him, and kind of moving him through this process of once again being alive. Where at the beginning of the movie, it doesn't feel like he is, right? Like, it feels like he's a dead man walking.
Because he has to sort of annihilate himself to a certain degree to like be able to find the capacity for something greater. Whether it's greatness or not is to be determined. But
Well, it's sort of, I don't know if you want to call it like oxymoronic in a way, because he is walking through life numb and dead and cut off all through the normal days, where I guess I don't know, maybe you could assume he's having the normal kind of drinking, but he's at the dinner just drinking the water. No, I'm driving. So it's a weird, opposite reaction, that numbing himself, because what are you numbing? You said the ego, right? You're numbing that sort of voice, that judgmental feeling, that kind of a limiting sense of like, I'm not good enough and so on. That when that's out of the way, you are actually enlivening yourself. So it is numbing one part, but since his normal everyday life was to be completely numb, that actually has a reverse effect of freeing him. Now, the movie isn't so simplistic that it's just like, there you go, everybody, just drink enough alcohol. So it plays with that peak, you know, and they get to that scene, that meters scene, which is, I think, maybe the most incredible moment for them, right? Like, it's working the best. They're playing music, they're being friends, they're sort of being joyful and youthful in a way that we saw the sort of kids being before. But then right after that, they go shopping, which you get a little bit of drunk humor.
You gotta get the cod, man. You gotta get that fresh cod. It was mentioned like 17 times.
Starts to slip, right? They go into the actual lake or the fjord.
Like, we'll just catch our own. It's easy.
And then the next scene after that is peeing in the bed, where the first woman leaves her husband, right? And you're pissing in the bed. And the next scene is the one that you drew attention to, the violent outburst where she basically confesses to having an affair, and he storms out and winds up, you know, getting licked by the dog on the curb afterwards. So, and that's the one. Also, we haven't talked about the great use of text on screen. We've seen a million different ways that's been used or tried to be portrayed, but it's so great to me, just black. And
I think those scenes are reversed. I think the whole thing is that he had woken up with the dog licking his head before that, and that was when they brought him inside, and then that's when the confrontation with his wife came, because there was no moment where it was kind of coming to a head until that point, which, I mean, you could kind of see coming from a mile away. As soon as he's like, oh, I guess I'm gonna pick the drink up and drink with you guys, and it's like, oh no, you were almost out the door, dude. Like but I kind of had that. I've kind of gone through some of this kind of, I guess, soul searching myself at times.
Today.
Because no, but like being someone who has like a pretty bad anxiety disorder, realizing that not all anxiety is bad for you, right? Like there's a voice in your head that's like, oh, well, maybe don't do this thing or maybe don't do that thing. And at times that holds you back and makes it so that, you know, you don't make decisions that you wanted to make, or that you don't want, like you don't make decisions you really felt like you should, or you don't, you know, you like social interactions, right? Like you'd rather stay home than actually socialize, and then something happens. You're like, wow, that voice in my head that was saying like, hey, this is something to be anxious about, like, you know, held me back from something that was important. But then at the same time, if you drink or you do like any kind of like anxiety kind of prescription thing or whatever, like that voice completely goes away at some point, and that's not a good thing either, because that voice is saying, hey, maybe don't punch that guy that's bigger than you.
Yeah, it's a safety valve. It's literally a safety valve. But it isn't necessarily like always the case. Like a lot of times, like, you know, certain feelings and direction taken from learned training from being a human can not necessarily be the correct choice of action too. And so the idea being that, again, and I go back to it, the annihilation of self, right? Like taking away the ego, and taking away, like, there's critical thinking and there's self-control and there's like examining a situation and coming to a conclusion, and then there's overthinking. And let's be clear that one of the problems of our times is, as people, we're presented with so much information and so much connection, good, bad, and indifferent, all the time, that we are bred to overthink now. So therefore, I think that this is
Wait a minute. Wait, what? Yeah. No,
in a certain very specific way.
I totally agree with that. No, I totally agree with that.
In a certain specific way. Like, I mean, believe me, there's some people that need to think a little harder. But, you know, like, ultimately, what I like about it too is that it doesn't try to retread like a great film like, you know, Virginia Woolf or Barfly, or even like Animal House or something, right? Where it's just doing
movies
like,
I really like, but yes,
I do as well. But I like that it doesn't try to do any of those things, because it presents it as a fully formed experience with the good and the bad, and without judgment. Like the reason why this remake is going to be terrible is because there's going to be some moralizing, judgy nonsense.
Hollywood cannot abide by not judging a bad thing.
It's bad behavior. Right, exactly.
It's going to make drinking out to be a bad thing, and I'm against that.
Yeah, and it's just...
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Hey, I'll drink to that. But the thing that is so astounding is it doesn't shy away from the negative attributes at all. Again, like we talk about, like the ad campaign. Like, look at the American poster, which is you know, Mads with the champagne. the ad campaign, like where he's got like the he's got champagne going. It's like, hey, good time party, everybody. Right. And then you have sorry, that's the Danish poster, and then the American poster is like
that was also the ad for this show tonight. But okay, whatever.
Well, but it's both. Like, it's why not both, not GIF?
Exactly, it's both, and America doesn't do both too well.
No.
Well, when we do both,
doing everything in extremes.
When we do both, it's both ends of the spectrum. Like that's the problem with it.
That sounds more like an or, but anyway, yeah.
No, but I'm saying like our relationship with drinking is a perfect example. Drinking is either like, you know, cool as fuck. Everybody's like, yo, we should really be like, you know what I mean? Like everyone's at the bar, like this is or it's like a morality tale where we haven't like been able to get rid of the shackles of prohibition.
Leaving Las Vegas or something, which is a fine film, but it's like, oh my God. All right, we get it. Yeah. Jesus.
That's why I love the movie starts with that Kierkegaard quote, but then Kierkegaard's dropped all throughout, and you know, the one thing that the kid says right in his exam, and that's like one of the most touching scenes. Now, apart from the complicated part where he's like, here, have some drink, and the teacher, like, I don't know, will that scene survive the American version? The teacher liquoring up the kid, you know, even this movie knows like, ooh, right? But
it's on the edge.
He says you must accept yourself as fallible in order to love others and life, and you know, that doesn't mean that you never do wrong. That means that you know you do wrong, and you don't condemn yourself in that moralistic, that maybe that's an American thing, that, you know, you have to be either the city on the hill or you're going to hell. That's the balance at this movie. That's why I'm just so like giddy about this movie, because that's like, oh shit, that is definitely the release valve that I need to have like every morning when I wake up. Like,
it's also hilarious when he gives the kid the sip and then he's like, "Oh, let me have some," and then he takes the sip and then he gives it back to the kid.
And it dribbles on his sweater. I was like, "Ooh, they're gonna smell that."
They'll be like, "Yo, both the instructor and the student are fucking drunk during this exam."
Well, and I think so. I saw this near the end of 2020, and I thought it was interesting. The gifs of like the Mads dancing scene context lists were sort of making their round as sort of like the joy of it came through. That like, hey, this is a great thing to like as a react GIF. And at first I was like, oh, I don't know, they're taking it without context, and there isn't the blah blah blah. Then
I just object to it as a spoiler alert, but anyway.
Yeah, well, sure, but I mean, you also, it's not like they were like, hey, this is from the movie Other Round, you can available, blah blah blah. It was just like Mads dancing around. Oh, Mads is a cool guy. He likes dancing, I guess. Like nobody was like,
get to see him more than just in Hannibal now with reaction to GIFs.
Right, exactly. Yes.
I was gonna say, damn, he's dance battling James Bond. That's crazy.
Oh, well, he was a gymnast and a dancer or something like that before he became an actor. Like he's a pretty
he has a background in it.
Yeah,
but it is interesting.
Bitch in that music video with Rihanna.
I'm listening to you, Conan.
Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate you. That you could have something that's so intrinsic to this incredible story that the turnaround of it, like arguably, it's not the same movie without that ending. Like that is like that's the set piece. That's like the cornerstone of like understanding the entire thing. And to have it just removed and have it still work on this other level as just an expression of joy is really interesting. I don't know if I've seen that. But it's strange because it's like the ultimate spoiler if you know what it's from.
But also,
it's also funny for it to come out during
Mads is. You know, a dance is just ecstatic by itself sometimes. Like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. So it works like as its own thing. But it is like, again, spoiler alert for it. Like it ties the whole movie together. Like any other ending. And also it's like when it gets to that point, you're like, how is this going to end? How can this end? Because there's only a couple ways, right?
Let me ask you guys something. So I still, first time and second time I watched it through, when he gets the text from his wife, "I miss you," I was just like tears. Like it was just like, oh my God, like, oh, a happy ending. But now the second time I watched it knowing what was coming, and there's that one shot where he's sitting on the bench and it's racked focus onto the water over his shoulder out of focus. So he's like contemplating, this is before he gets up and dances. So he's contemplating what I guess is jumping in there. So I this time I was left, since I saw that, a little bit more unclear. It was always ambiguous, but unclear. Is he Is
which
he
way are they
running
gonna go?
away from that even? Yeah, you say yay with no doubt. Okay. I don't know.
Well, that's why I thought the first time, right? Like for me, I was like, oh man, here we go.
Yeah, he's gonna blow that up. I mean, I love that it is ambiguous, and I love that it is not clear if it, because maybe he pulls himself out of the water and they all laugh and he goes and makes up with his wife. But I don't think.
Damn, it's my
pausing
phone
on
was
that.
in my pocket.
Right.
But then again, when I saw it second time, like I totally didn't feel that way. I was like, oh no, come on.
But I mean,
I don't know.
Maybe it's more
I love it.
metaphorical. Maybe it's far more metaphorical than it is literal, right? Like
Oh God, I hope not. But go on.
But no, but it's like the great leap into the beyond, right? Like he's at this crossroads.
Maybe knowledge is the alcohol, and
or maybe
the water
it's
is drink of life that he's jumping into.
Truth serum.
No, but it's like, he's jumping in with, like quite literally jumping in with both feet. You know what I mean? Like, and he's like at this crossroads at the end of it. Does he get back with his wife? Does he return to the life that he left? Like kind of, or does he continue on to whatever this is, where he's like kind of released himself from that, where catharsis, like extreme
freelance
catharsis.
dancing.
The bliss of oblivion. Like, I definitely think it's a self-annihilating move, especially since we're paused on it. Like,
Yeah, like.
I always think of Mark Maron's joke where he says, like, I've never wanted to commit suicide, but I like to know it's there. It's like a relief to know that I could do it. This could all be over and it would all just evaporate. So there is something to that, just like the bliss of oblivion. But I think that's where the alcohol theme is on point, because that's sort of what you're guzzling for, and yet you're not actually dead, right? Like, that's what the ego death is, right? That you were talking about, Conan, where you're still among the living, but you're dead in that sense of like, I'm just this limited, piece of shit that's just, struggling to be happy in this world. If I could kill that off and I could go about my life, then everything would be so much better. I'd be evolved or whatever.
Oh, I mean, if it is.
You'd be limitless, like the movie Limitless.
Another kind of similar question,
one, but I heard
it's not that great. Yeah,
isn't it a movie where a guy discovers Adderall and
and becomes limitless? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Adderall? I thought he discovered modafinil, but whatever.
Honestly,
no, it's just there was a bunch of memes when that movie came out that was like the numbers and stuff, and it's like, oh, when I take my ADHD medication for the first time in the day, I get it. Like,
or those memes where it's like, if I was prescribed Adderall at a young age, I would be a homeowner by now, like stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of things that I could have accomplished had I been diagnosed at a younger age.
Nobody's prescribing 0.05 alcohol though to their patients.
But maybe they should.
Maybe they should.
Maybe they
Good
should.
Point.
Well, you got to assume there's one doctor out there that's like, hey man, what if you just had a couple glasses of wine every day? That's
it's Trump's doctor. It's that Wes Anderson looking dude.
Yeah, R.I.P. to the real. I gotta say.
I literally had a counselor say, you tell some girl at a psych ward, like, girl, because she was like doing like hard drugs. She's like, don't be doing that hard stuff. Do shrooms, do some LSD, drink some wine, smoke some weed. And I'm like,
that sounds reasonable to me.
Yes.
Stick to the soft
I'm
stuff.
like, listen to her. She's right.
But I had a point that I was gonna make. Oh, the other ambiguous moment in this is when Tommy sails away in the boat, and you have like, does he accidentally fall off the boat and die when he drowns, right? Or because he's drunk and he's an alcoholic, right. Or is it?
He says "fuck it" to the life jacket, so I don't think he was going out there with the intention of dying. I just think he didn't give a shit.
Yeah, but I think that's I guess
death by misadventure. By the way, that's called death by misadventure.
Death by misadventure. It's like he's playing both sides of the scene in The Godfather, where he takes himself. And then
which does bring up the one problem I have with the movie, though. It's
Fredo. Hold on.
They don't answer the question about what happened to the dog. I mean,
the dog was the part. I'm glad you brought that up, because again, I hate any movie that threatens the life of a dog. I don't care if it's reasonable or not. I just completely check out. I'm like, fuck you, movie. But I was afraid for that dog, because that scene is not set up to be like, he's just going boating, right? It's very ominous, and especially when he throws the life.
Yeah, and that dog is barely functional. That dog's only alive because he absolutely loves that dog.
In my head canon, the Coast Guard gets the dog and adopts it as their like house dog, and he lives with them forever.
It's a Disney Plus streaming series, actually. It's coming.
Yeah.
I should pitch that to Thomas Vinterberg.
The Man Dog Lorian.
But Tommy is actually the one. Tommy is the one part that I think the American version will get right, because he's like the cautionary tale, right? He's
But it's going to be the only part that they get right.
Yeah,
it's gonna, because that's
Well, you
easy.
stroke the dog.
He goes too far.
They're
He
probably
doesn't
gonna do
stick to
horrible
the-
things to the dog.
It's going to be a teacup pig, actually. Yeah, go ahead.
And it actually eats him when he
I
drinks.
just wanted to work the term teakup pig into this conversation.
I've never heard that before tonight, so I feel like this has been a success for me. Now I'm going to Google teacup pig.
You've never seen the little pigs?
Oh, man.
I mean, I now I get what it is from just the term, but I didn't know it existed.
They are not as good as pets, I think, than people make them out to be. I think people end up getting a pig, like adopting it, and then realizing, oh shit, this is like a pig. Like this is like gonna destroy things in my house.
Just get a pet raccoon.
All right, well, you just
they only
saved
live
me.
for 3 years.
What was that?
Just get a pet raccoon. They only live for 3 years.
Except for Rakakuni, of course.
That sounds
Rakakuni lives forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Live fast, die young is the raccoon.
Raccoon that sits on your head and that thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, look, not to turn this conversation back to my merch opportunities, but we have a raccoon shirt, cartoon raccoons. It says "Death is coming, eat trash, be free." Based off of a meme, but yeah, very popular.
New anarchist slogan.
But I think that the problem is that like that character they will get right, but the rest of them they're not going to, because I think for the most part, those outside like art house films, I think the rest of the characters you just don't see that kind of nuance in a lot of character acting in American films. Sometimes you do. Sometimes there are exceptions.
Almost never.
Look at anything Sam Levinson produces. Euphoria, like that new show with Lily Rose Depp, The Idol. Like it's always, it's young females, loving to drink, loving to party, loving to get naked, loving to have sex. It's like that's all a lot of these shows are about.
Horse is like, yes, and no. I'm listening.
Those are TV shows, though, right?
Euphoria.
Yeah,
I've heard that's good, but I've not delved.
Yeah, I got the lighting from Euphoria. If you're
I was going to say, they're going to ask for their lighting back, Andy.
I went to high school.
Yeah,
during
where are you? Are you at a nightclub?
Yeah, no, I'm at the comedy basement.
He's working as Tight 5. Yeah.
I went to high school during the opioid crisis. I don't need to see a show where people are going to high school during the opioid crisis and it's like Skins. Like that's what I assume it is.
Yeah.
Well, so Christina, yeah, finish that point. What were you?
We're not. It's just with American films, we don't really are able to portray the nuances of these issues like regarding alcohol and drugs and whatnot, and how they could be, just a little goes a long way. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'm thinking when you say that, Conan, that it's like you like what we're saying before about you have to be judged. Like you have to, if you do a bad thing, then you have to suffer in the plot somehow. You have, with the film has to be very clear that we're not condoning anything
right
that's off the list. Like that kind of like moralizing stance. Which I don't know Euphoria. I've heard great things about it, but maybe that is able to walk that line on HBO. I don't. But it feels like the the sort of cultural prejudice is to like, if you do a bad thing, then you have to die or something bad has to happen.
We're suffer in some way. Yeah, you have to be.
We're also at this point where we're at kind of like a lawsuit culture, right? Like everything is thought of through the lens of like, well, how can we make sure that this isn't like our fault, right? Like fault is
I see.
Responsibility and fault are like things that our culture treats like very, very like weirdly, because people are constantly thinking, well, if I were to get sued for this, can someone say this movie incited something, or like can someone kind of sue me for or cancel me or whatever for encouraging teen drinking in this movie? Can somebody like all
I think it goes back further than that we're a puritanical society, like we're we're either like I said, the city on the hill, or we're Sodom and Gomorrah. Like there's not a there's an overreaction and an attempt to idealize our morality, which is just, let's just say, inhuman, to put it lightly.
Yeah, but I mean that goes into like our penal code, and like
penal.
See, I purposely didn't say haha penal after saying that. But the punitive.
I didn't
way
give
that
you a
we-
chance.
The punitive way that we treat different things, and then for that also to be on a personal level, a lawsuit culture. I think now we're not even thinking about it just in terms of like, should you suffer? It's like, how can I make somebody? How can I make the law punitively work for my end of this thing? So I just feel like I feel like that kind of the happiest country on earth probably doesn't have that level of skepticism or cynicism, I guess.
And they weren't founded by religious zealots to a large extent.
Yeah, the ones in Europe that were like too far for Europeans, they're like this. I mean, I live in Newport. It's literally founded by the Huguenots because they were the Calvinists in fucking France. That like, yeah.
I think of that movie Hardcore. You seen that movie? The Paul Schrader movie. Paul Schrader was a raised hardcore. Well, not that kind of hardcore, but hardcore Calvinist. You know that you guys don't know that one, Hardcore.
I know Paul Schrader, but obviously
George C. Scott has to go track down his daughter, who's left their extremely hardcore in that way Calvinist family to go be in porno movies, and so it takes him into this like seedy underbelly. So it's the whole high and low. Like he comes from the church.
So it's like 8mm, but like a good movie.
I guess I did not.
There was
see
8mm all right in that porno.
But he does see a lot of 8mm movies in it. I'll tell you that much.
There you go. So it all ties together, people. Connect the dots.
But yeah, but the Calvinists, they're really out there.
Yeah. Well, there's
if any Calvinists are watching, but they're not.
Apologies to the Calvinists in the audience.
Oh my God, we just dropped from like 15 people watching to 3. That can't.
Holy
be that many.
the whole Calvinist group. We're just the only ones watching.
It's the descendants of the people that founded this town. They're like, no,
I'm out. Unsubscribe.
I'm sorry. The devil's liquid got me, Calvinist.
Well, so
yeah,
go.
No,
Anyway,
I think that similarly, it gets into the whole spectrum of different reactions to alcohol on a personal level too, right? Like you have the one guy who it does seem to genuinely kind of help. I mean, he probably shouldn't keep giving shots to students, but he doesn't seem to be as badly impacted.
Maybe.
Or there's somebody like Nikolash who's able to salvage his marriage, and seems like this experiment made things more interesting for him. He seemed like he was kind of dead-eyed in the beginning of it, dealing with like the kids and stuff. And it seems like maybe he got like a spring back in his step after quitting drinking. And then you have like Mad's character who might commit full-on ego death at the end of it. Who knows what happens after that? You know what I mean?
Or real death.
Yeah, it looked like it was touch and go for a second for real death. Yeah, you're right. But I think
swim.
Well, I mean, in the American version, we know he's not going to survive jumping into the river.
I'm thinking about Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street, where he takes the fucking Quaaludes and is trying to get into his car.
To be fair, that's one of my favorite scenes in that film. But.
It is.
Yeah, it is the best scene in that movie. But
and then he's like, nailed it, and then you see the car is just like completely screwed up, and the cops. It's
the funniest scene.
It's they're gonna remake that with Jonah Hill though, and Leonardo DiCaprio. He's gonna be like, "Come on, bro, take a shot, bro. Take on, bro. Take a
I thought
shot."
you meant that. Like, I think you're gonna say I think Vinterberg should remake that in as a Danish film, which I'd be way into.
Yeah, I would be really into that. But no, I was thinking about the smoke crack with me, bro scene, but it's Jonah Hill and Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's like, "Come on, bro, take a shot with me, bro."
Anyway, what were we talking about?
They threatened to remake. Oh shit! I'm blanking on the movie now.
Akira?
No, just throw out a bunch while I look it up.
They did threaten to remake Akira with Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, Tony Erdmann. You guys know the German film Tony Erdmann? No. Oh well, I'm coming back on the next episode to do Tony Erdmann because that is
coming up in a week.
That was my favorite, most recent. I know I'm inviting myself on. I'm sorry, it's the liquid.
They're redoing that.
But they tried to remake that with Jack Nicholson, and it blew up. So maybe there was enough of a backlash against a similarly beloved European festival hit kind of movie that we could generate for that. So this won't actually happen. But who cares, right? It can't affect what this movie is, right?
Yeah. Well, this movie's always going to be fantastic. Like much
That's
in the
right.
same way that like I really like Let the Right One In, and I just refuse to watch the American
Same.
remake. I'm like, I have no interest in it. There's no
Although
way.
I have heard in terms of remakes that one was okay, but I'm not moving.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I'll never watch it. But
yeah, me neither. Let's get together and not watch it.
Yeah, exactly. We can all get together and not watch a movie.
The
together.
American one is just that cat scene, just for 2 hours.
All right, there you go. I believe it.
Definitely not
But I think that, again, one of the reasons why this worked, and I'm going to go back to what I said earlier, that all those movies about drinking, like the whether it's Virginia Woolf, Drunks, that's actually a pretty good indie film with Richard
Lewis. Yes,
Richard Lewis,
based I guess on his
actual
challenges.
experience.
Yeah,
or something
that's a
like
deep cut.
It is a deep cut. Leaving Las Vegas or something along those lines. Everything has to be like moralizing and judging.
The Lost
right?
Weekend. That's a good
Lost
one.
Weekend. How it's
kind of good.
The gold standard of it for and I think you get aspects, like you get a little bit of some of it, but it's very unique in the way it's portrayed, and it's actually humanistic in that way, because it is not a binary good or bad moral judgment experience to be deeply involved in an intoxicant of some kind. And again, addicts are addicts, and I should know. I am not one, but there's addiction in my family, and people in my family have been addicts. But I like
looking at all the guitars behind you. I beg to differ. But go on.
Hey man, but
That's a healthy one.
It's a healthy addiction. Yeah, exactly. But I think that it's just that nuance is never going to get across ever, and I think part of it is cultural, because God, this is not a nuanced country. And it is sometimes, but for the most part, it is not a nuanced country. And I think it's becoming.
There's never a time that the country is nuanced. We are not.
I think
We are a country of extremes.
Yeah, there's been brief moments of nuance, but for the most part, it's very much
it's not nuanced when it counts. It's
yeah, exactly.
Or at least
Never
our
when it
popular
matters.
culture is not making movies that are nuanced. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
But also, don't you think it's interesting that it works in reverse though? Because I feel like we as Americans totally recognize this issue, right? What he's going through, the middle class lifestyle, the comfortable home, the sort of work-a-day job, the sort of I had ambitions, right? So there's
didn't work out the way I thought it was.
All
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
yeah, it's working this way to go to them, right? So they seem similar enough to us. So it's just really our culture industry that is dropping the ball here, right?
They're just like us.
Yeah, they are. I mean, with a little bit more alcohol, maybe.
Well, and that's a wild thing for me. Like I live in Wisconsin. I live in Milwaukee. It's like one of the there's more bars per capita here than I think anywhere in the United States for sure. And having come from the Bay Area, that was a culture shock where it's just the casual drinking and casual alcoholism, I might add, are so deeply internalized and just part of culture and ingrained in it. Nobody even thinks twice about it. But it takes someone like a transplant, such as myself, to be able to not every place you can do that necessarily, and good on you if that's what you want to do, but maybe you shouldn't be driving, even if the cops won't actually stop you and give you a ticket. But okay.
Yeah, I mean, New York is a kind of fairly fascinating American experiment in both being
Bars per capita.
Well, just being a state that has as a main driver of our economy right now, apple orchards and cider, everywhere is opening up as a cider distillery. Everywhere is opening up as a brewery or something. You know what I mean? But at the same time, and I was kind of shocked to learn this. I remember learning this when I worked in or interned in Albany for a little bit, and they were trying to overturn decades of prohibitionary laws. That were slowly put on the books. So we only
when did you work there? 1937.
No, they were still doing it now.
Wow.
It only just became legal to have a movie theater that you serve.
They've been very busy. They didn't get around to it.
Oh, really? The whole movies like I Pick and Alamo Drafthouse that was only recent. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here. But I think it was 2012 or 2014 or something. And there were exceptions, but one thing about the pandemic that was interesting is a lot of these laws got loosened up because bars couldn't stay in business. So suddenly you were able to get takeout drinks at a bar, and they could give you the drink and you could just take it.
Everywhere was El Sombrero all of a sudden.
Yeah. And I just have to imagine in some ways that the culture in Denmark or somewhere like that is probably a lot more lax about that kind of thing. and you know, but without it being kind of this explosion, which is the other side of excess, something like, you know, New Orleans or something like that, where you can drink on the street and people just go there to drink on the street, and you know what I mean. Like it seems like maybe in those kinds of cultures is more culturally acceptable from the start, which is the other.
There isn't a fetishization of it, a fetishization of excess, as there is here.
Or there isn't that moralizing, like, don't do it, so you overdo it, you know?
Right.
Like,
Well, it's just verboten, sure, yeah.
Because letting the kids do this bus thing, you know, like, I mean, obviously the seniors in every high school in America are all getting wasted at the same time as them, but not in a sanctioned way like that.
Yeah, it's like Amsterdam, you know, or
Amsterdam, yeah. WMDs.
WMD got that WMD. This is the GTD one of the clips, and we'll watch more of these in the after party. Are you staying around for the after party? Matthew, film guy.
I'll stay around.
I like that you put people like on the spot on the show.
That's what like.
Can we talk about this off air? I haven't got it. My agent is gonna call you.
That's how like Ben would do it when we started doing post games. That's how like Michael Brooks would do it.
Still doesn't make it a good tactic, but okay, whatever.
Just like sticking around for the.
How dare you invoke Michael Brooks' name to pigeonhole me this way? I am.
I'm guilt tripping.
The day before the 2-year anniversary of his death.
That's right. Oh God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. Well, this is some shitty quality.
Yeah, no, this is not good. Not good. Not good.
He filmed it on his trio.
No, Del Toro insists on this level of.
I was gonna say though, you know, speaking of Michael Brooks, not good.
Not good.
It is, and this is one of the things I wanted to ask Matt urgently, because obviously you start with a character that understands only like a binary switch. Either I'm on and I'm alive, or I'm over, you know, and this, the alcohol, graduating it. Obviously we can talk about how difficult it is to play drunk in a movie, which is one of the most difficult things for any actor and for a director to shoot. But can you tell me, how did you track this character, Mads, because you obviously didn't shoot in order, did you?
No, we tried as much as we could, but we only had the school for a certain pocket of time. But I think we did our best to try to shoot it in order. I mean, drunk is one thing. There are certain places, obviously, where we talk about this is drunk, it's nothing else but drunk. But there was also a lot of times where we said there's a certain freedom here. I mean, through the alcohol. But I guess that we did go up and down on the dial. We said 0.05, let's try 0.08, let's try 0.1. But somewhere back in the head, it was not about the drunkenness of it. It was about how free you would be in a scene. You know, how it's pretty much the same thing, but we kind of, at least when it wasn't insanely drunk, we saw it as freedom, as, you know, burdenless. And then, of course, a little slur in the mouth and hands that were moving erratical. But for the guy who was just outside looking at it, it could look like freedom and not drunkenness. And I think that was important to all of us, that's the way they could get away with it, right? So they were not just constantly falling, but a few times they were close to being caught. We did a little boot camp. We wanted to see exactly what those levels were before we started shooting. And it's not because we don't know how it is to be drunk between any of these guys who were involved in the film. Yes. But it was for us to see what is the difference between two glasses. And then we shot some scenes and we added it. And that's the state where you're not like crazy drunk. And you don't feel the big difference. It doesn't feel as if anything happens. The next day when you watch the video, and you go, I can see it now. I can see exactly what the difference is between 2 and 4. And that was very helpful for us to dive into. So Thomas could go and say, listen, I think this scene is boring. Let's go up on 0.8. I want some more life in it. And then we had a good idea what that meant. Generally, actors playing slightly drunk or little drunk, we tried to do it in a way that
it doesn't come across. You're hiding that you're drunk. That's kind of the rule for all actors, right?
That's it.
So, like, you know, focus. You walk a little more stiffly. You talk a little slower, not to mess up too much, and that gets you away. The next level, where you don't care about what people think, is we call it the Russian level, because we watched a lot of YouTube videos of Russian people in real life,
Yes.
and it just gives you such what can you say? You became a little less nervous watching that, because it's insane what they do. So we dare to go there as well.
Love it. His performance is fantastic. Everyone's performances are really good, but his performance especially is. He is one of the great actors of our time, I think.
It speaks to what a master craftsman he is, to be able to modulate 0.2, 0.1. I'm watching myself. I see what's different. That's all. I'm fascinated by that level.
I was gonna say though, this show is an experiment in seeing the different levels between what different drinks can do.
Hey, we were all on Andy's birthday party except for Christina, so yeah.
Yeah, my mom almost had a stroke, so
yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
That shot that made my head dead.
I was gonna say, way to bring that down.
I was going to bring it back to the movie and say that, you know, the one complaint I have about the film is because, you know, we're not really familiar with the Danish language. I couldn't really pick up on the slurring as much, like unless it was extreme.
Well, the one guy, Tommy, seemed like he slurred all the time. You know,
yeah.
The subtitles were always perfectly crisp. So
exactly. The subtitles were never slurred.
They should have blurred them.
Maybe like blurry,
like a little bit slanted, a little curvy or whatever.
Add a few extra SHs in there.
Wiggles.
Well, he had, you know, like watching the clip of Mads earlier, he called it like France. So like, you know what I mean? Like, he called France. So like, you know, so he adds an SH anyway. I don't think it's a drinking.
French.
He said France. He said people in France.
Right. They're close enough that they have to pronounce it correctly. but their body language and everything. I mean, that started to become
no, that was top
clear.
notch. It's just the you know, slurring of words, which he was talking about in the clip there, and I'm like, man, I wish I could have picked that up, but I don't speak enough Danish. You know, got to go to Dunkin' Donuts more and learn that Danish.
I realized.
Oh, they got chocolate croissants and they're so good.
Moving extravaganza brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts.
Boston accent if you go there.
Denmark runs on Dunkin'. Oh.
Maybe that's what the remake is gonna be. It's gonna be everyone's heavy Boston accents.
I got a wicked idea. I can't even do it.
That's almost like a foreign film, I guess.
I think you know what the American version of this sort of already was. I mean, not really, but this is obviously more conceptual and it's got this high concept. But I was reminded of Cassavetes' husbands throughout this movie too. They don't foreground the drinking, but those guys are drinking constantly throughout their little escape into youth, trying to recapture their youth.
Much like Cassavetes, you know, in life.
I thought you were going to bring up Small Engine Repair Shop because of the Boston accents and the drinking, but Small Engine Repair.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
It's not. It's a pretty solid movie. It's three guys who have this friendship. One guy is in and out of prison.
Is it a reality show?
No. It's the dude from The Walking Dead's in it.
You could be making this up, and I would have no idea. By the way,
No,
I thought you were going to. When he said in prison,
Are we supposed to have the Andy explains going across? When he's
Listen, Andrew, John Bernthal and Shea Wiggum, I'm there.
No. It's the acting is top notch in this.
Thank you. It's also on Hulu.
Definitely.
So I'll be checking that out.
Definitely worth checking out. I'm not going to tell you. I don't want to oversell it.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it. I also don't want to oversell it.
I thought about your Boston another round bit, and you know what? I'm in there. They could be like,
but watching that reminded me of my family, and they all have Boston accents. Even
Forrest has the Boston bit he wants to do. Let Forrest do his Boston.
I was gonna say they're too drunk to park the car.
Wasn't that worth it, folks? Wasn't that worth it? I'm glad.
I
we
will
made
say though, when I get buzzed, I sound like I'm from Jersey because that's where I'm originally from.
From where?
You're like
New
Snooki.
Jersey.
Jersey, yeah. I mean, we have the Jersey Shore. They drank a lot there.
Yeah.
When Christina
Those
gets
are
drunk,
not mostly
she,
from Jersey. I just learned.
Hey,
Matt. I've drank a lot at the Jersey Shore. I don't know. I went there like 5 times one summer, and it was decent.
If you like drinking, anyway. So I think
Anyway,
like
back
the
to
performances-
$14 a drink.
Drive this bus, Conan.
Well, the performances here are fantastic because I think that this film shows you just about every possible reason for drinking that there could be, and you get like the palette of it, and I think that's really interesting.
Go on.
Well, because like so ultimately you've got a bunch of folks that are, these are dudes of a certain age, right? They each have their own like sets of problems, and they have their things that they want to overcome. But it's not all exactly the same. Everyone doesn't have the same motivation. They don't have the same lived experience. And you see like, and again, without turning into a moralistic play, you get to see like, oh, well, the home life here is, this guy feels trapped because of like, this reason. Like Mads is a perfect example. Like, I mean, Mads is like, he's got something building up for a really long time that like he just doesn't feel empowered enough in himself to be able to do, right? But then you also have like look at the I can't remember, like the coach guy, right? Like his whole situation, Tommy's situation is like wildly different than everyone else.
Yeah.
You get like the rich
saddest sack.
You can tell immediately like, oh, this guy's story is gonna potentially not end well. Like it's
but we haven't even mentioned Specs yet, so he has that little touch there.
Specs is a fascinating part of this story, and I think that it does so with a deep humanity though, and I think that it would be very easy to do it and have it be mean. And there's a lot there's certain directors I could call out that are good directors, but are also very mean. They're mean to their characters. They're mean in their characterization and storytelling. And
let's list them. I love this.
Let's put them on blast, everybody.
I can think of a few just right offhand, but yeah.
Todd Solondz would be one.
Neil LaBute.
Neil LaBute's another one. Yes, I mean we could.
I would even go Robert Altman sometimes.
Robert Altman has his moments, but I think he also can show rich humanity as well.
True.
Well, we like talking through the humanity part of it and talking through like the nuance part of it. I think a movie that is not at all nuanced, but like I think the humanity of it is, everything everywhere all at once in kind of a similar way.
Matthew's
I
favorite.
have not heard of it. I have not heard of this movie.
No, but in the same way, I would
agree
feel
with
like
you, Forrest.
I would feel like
we are agreeing on everything tonight. That's
we were doing so well.
Okay, but this isn't me saying that's the best movie I've seen recently, which I mean, I've said that already. But
you just saw another round.
But I wait, so I'm making a point.
It is in the movie currently being discussed.
I'm making another point. I'm making a point with this. I'm not just bringing it up randomly and then hijacking the conversation saying let's talk about
I thought you were just bringing it up randomly and injecting, but anyway, I stand corrected.
For Mads' character, which I think his name is Martin in this, right? It feels like in a similar way he's the same as the mother in Everything Everywhere All at Once, where it's like every decision that he's made throughout he's in this midlife crisis, and he's like kind of the worst version of himself in that moment, right? Like he could have gotten a PhD and done his research like stuff, but he doesn't, like because of like the kids. And that's the same reason kind of in Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's the same kind of treatment of family and humanity as someone who's made every single decision the wrong way and gotten to this point of being depressed and emotional, but like stunted emotionality. And I feel like
and grieving for it too, grieving for it in real time. I think that's key as well.
So I'm not saying that there's similar, but I'm saying that I do feel like he's the version that's like, he's the worst version of himself.
It's a similar alienation that's almost like international because of our world of capitalism that permeates neoliberal capitalism that's everywhere.
Take a drink, everybody.
That's what I was trying to say. Like we so are similar. Our cultures are so similar. And you could also say that drinking alcohol is sort of like entering an alternate dimension where everything's just slightly different, right?
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Every shot you take, it the reality changes just a little.
You're going further and further away, which I have drunk into hamburger fingers before. Hot dog. I have definitely, unfortunately, gotten there.
But
also, I brought up that movie in my little review, which I don't know if you guys have seen, but it's another, it's his fellow Danish guy, Lars von Trier's movie, The Idiots. Have you seen
It's
that?
one of the only ones I haven't seen. I've seen almost all of that guy's movies, including The Boss of It All, which nobody's ever seen The Boss of It All, and I like that
Kingdom or something like that. I haven't seen that one.
I used to have the Kingdom on VHS. I don't have it anymore.
Oh,
Well,
wow!
I might. I don't know.
Well, The Idiots is sort of
I don't
like
have a VCR.
This is like the more subtle, more kind of realistic version of The Idiots, because they have this high concept, which I don't want to even say now if you haven't necessarily seen it, guys, but they have this high concept. They're like, let's try this experiment in a way, and even that sort of spoils it. But this movie gives these guys this sort of intellectual, they're telling themselves, oh yeah, we're doing a study. Now it's only half even serious, even amongst them, right? That they're doing this study, but they're telling themselves that we're doing this important study, and really they're just, playing as an excuse to get drunk and be childish again, which winds up being a great thing. But the sort of high concept of that, I suggest everyone just go and
I want to read that report. I don't think their report will research standards or whatever. I don't think it'll cut the.
I think it just amounts to every bit of text we see put on screen. So you can go transcribe that. but actually that moment where he writes, it's like very heavy, where he writes like, this is where it ends. It's like they're all in that, like, they do that one last scene where they're all like stumbling around in the dark. It's like one light, right? Am I remembering this right? It's right before that. They're just like stumbling over each other, and everyone's like all bloodied and beaten up, and he writes,
and they do the kind of shot, I think, where they kind of like to do, where it's like everything's kind of soft lighting, and it like follows him as he like falls on.
Yeah, it's like one source of light, and it looks really weird and dreamlike, but like a nightmare. And he says, like, study ends here. Negative.
I call it the Jesse Pinkman shot. Like when he's partying and they do it in fast motion or whatever, and then he just
man, that's the Mean Streets shot. They ripped that off of Mean Streets, but let's not.
Yeah, that too. But yeah. Does anyone have anything else that they want to bring up with this before Letterboxd one-liners?
I mean, Christina, Andy, this side of the screen has been dominating the conversation. So, yeah, I think you want to.
Indeed, it has. I have really not a lot to really add because y'all have been just killing it. So,
thank you.
Oh, that's very sweet.
You've killed your ego and have just been,
In my case, I think my ego was Twitter.
He killed his. I was gonna say, in my case, he killed her Twitter account too. Yeah.
Oh, I got one other little thing that I want to point out is an interesting nuance that is one of my little notes here. It's not that huge, but I really love the way that the movie balances the look at alcohol during the scene where Mads meets with his ex-wife or separated wife, and she's guzzling the white wine in that moment, right? She's not part of the experiment, but I thought that was a really sort of clever wink to say, like, here's someone not in this experiment, just wildly applying alcohol to a tense situation in a socially acceptable way, right? I just thought, I mean, maybe it was a little bit of a broad point, but I just thought that was interesting, and it sets up this balance of like, oh, he's this asshole because, all right, he stumbled home drunk and slept in the neighbor's yard or whatever once or twice, but her just normal use of alcohol,
that's okay.
They make it clear also when they have the confrontation, and she's like, everybody fucking abuses alcohol in this country. Like, that's not what I'm upset about. I'm upset that you're having fun with people besides me. Like, you could have been having fun with me, and you chose to have fun with your friends instead. And that kind of is a moment that really speaks to it. I don't think like in America that we could ever, like, in America the problem would be the alcohol, right? Like, I don't think that we have the capability of having a nuanced point that, like, listen, you're an asshole in this situation because you kind of abandoned me and you're going out to have fun with your friends. Isn't that some kind of emotional cheating, or isn't that some kind of emotional abandonment?
But is that her main gripe? Because that's only in these last few days. The whole years that they spent alienating themselves was not him going out with his friends. It was him dying inside, right?
And growing apart in the process. It's the consequence of that action. But
no, I'm not saying her saying that per se.
I'm not saying that that's her main gripe. I'm just saying that their interaction in that moment, right? Like, you kind of realize, like, oh, like there's emotional distance between them the entire time because of his like depression and middle-aged like whatever. But like when he finally kind of transcends it and becomes more engaged or whatever and wants to be part of this, she's saying that when he does go out to have fun, I mean it's not a fair point, but like when he does go out to have fun, it's not with her. And I
don't actually think that what I'm saying is that she is saying that his alcohol is a problem. It's like the movie presenting to us like here's one of these socially acceptable kind of ways, right? It's sort of not considered, not sort of intellectualized and so on, but it's one of the other few rare examples of someone drinking in the movie that's not part of their quote unquote phony experiment.
Although as the movie goes on, their experiment kind of transcends the boundaries of
absolutely. I mean, that's the joke.
Like it with
that's
first scene.
the funny part.
Yeah, no, but like the first scene, he's like, "We will not drink besides at work," and then the next scene, he's like, "At home too, fuck it."
Yeah, I mean, the gym teacher's hiding bottles, and he just falls off the rails. I mean, honestly, the only people I think that we see drinking besides them are the students who are just binge drinking in the only way teenagers can, and her. All right, Christina's getting tired. Let's wrap it up.
I was like, speaking of her, Mads Mikkelsen Stan. What are your
thoughts? Sorry, guys, I just haven't been sleeping. But I actually really did like this movie a lot. But I'm a huge Mads Mikkelsen fan. Like I've been a fan of his for years, and I'm glad that America's kind of giving him a chance for once.
Yeah.
I just wish they would let him play in the American remake. It's like, dudes, you have a guy who
you have like the perfect dude who's like a far better actor than the person who's. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
where he actually jumped next week. He jumped.
Leonardo
off the
DiCaprio.
dock. No, he jumped off the dock and then he appeared in America somehow like a vortex. And then
there you
go.
Make
it a sequel.
I guess it's another round.
Needed scene. Yeah, another round.
I mean, can you name a movie where he's played a non-villain in an American movie?
An American movie. Okay, damn.
Which one?
Rogue One.
Rogue One. Okay, yeah. But he was a bad guy that turned good, right?
Yeah. But was he really a bad guy though?
Good point.
Dr. Strange, he was a bad guy, clearly.
We will save that discussion for the after party. Letterboxd is a place for film. It's a place where film lovers get to talk at, with, and to each other about the films they love, the films they didn't love, the films they were weirdly thirsty for. All of these things, of course, best expressed in your classic standing in front of the comedy cellar, brick wall, tight five, keep it succinct, don't waste time, bottom up democracy, no Siskel's, no Eberts here. Everyone gets to have their say. These are the Letterboxd one-liners for another round. Here's to alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Everyone had to have included that.
I did not know you were going to be reading your review aloud, or would not have included that one, but it's still salient and it works.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't have the guts to only write that though, so this guy gets it.
David Chen, only 3.5 stars though. That's weird.
Homer does seem to be a caricature or like an artistic sketch of casual drinking.
Alcohol.
Yeah. I like that the quote is attributed too. There's an attribution.
Yes.
I remember what episode that is? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Andrew.
I was just going to say, I think he lost a star and a half because he didn't answer what happened to the dog.
He didn't what?
That they didn't explain what happened to the dog.
I give him that.
The dog learned how to sail, and he was the first sailing ass dog.
Still needed help to pee, though.
Who knew Mads Mikkelsen dancing frenetically could be something so personal?
Yeah.
Facts.
Facts.
It's like Christopher Walken dancing, you know?
You could do with it.
Pennies from heaven?
You can do with that. You can do with this. You can do with that.
I mean, the fact that it's both dudes dancing, I guess. I don't know. Okay.
I could see Christopher Walken being in a remake of this movie.
There we go.
I'm going to have my blood alcohol content.
He's like 80. I don't think he should do this.
No,
he is pretty.
Yeah, like maybe 30 years ago.
I put the shot up my ass.
So we're involving time travel with this fantasy casting then. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do the mocap CGI de-aging.
Oh, fuck. Pretty much the only thing I've heard regarding this movie was about Mads Mikkelsen's dancing. And yet I was fully unprepared for Mads Mikkelsen's dancing. Ending of the year.
But another paltry 3.5 stars. Sorry, but...
Again, it's the dog.
Yeah, fuck you, Laura.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow her just to tell her off.
Hey,
YouTube channel nuked because I
imagine a dance battle between Mads Mikkelsen and Joaquin Phoenix.
James, another 3.5er? What the fuck?
Yeah, that should be the requirement for.
I think Conan only followed the 3.5 stars.
It seems like it, huh? And only dancing related too.
This was a great series, but it had 5 stars. So I just.
But wait, what is the Joaquin Phoenix dance reference? Is it from
Joker?
Joker? Okay.
Where he dances down the stairs.
Yeah, come on, please. Mads every minute, but go on.
Exactly, that's why I'm backing.
Yeah.
You think dance battles are funny? I do, and I'm tired of pretending they're not.
That's good. That's good.
Nice.
This one was pretty great, or at least I think it was. I kind of forgot. I had a lot to drink last night. Drinking.
4 stars.
That's a 3.5-star review, but okay.
Yeah, one of the things about doing this show is like I can't drink when I like watch movies. You know what I mean? Like, and this movie is one of the ones that I'm like, yo, I want to drink and like watch this and like really just get into it. It's like, nope, gotta stay sober.
Not enough drinking in this movie, methinks.
True.
I would have
There
made.
could have been more.
Could have been more.
Yeah, I could see this movie being remade in a universe where everybody's drunk all the time and they decide to go sober.
I think somebody writes a paper saying that we're actually 5 cc's of crack smoke down.
And that's the Leonardo DiCaprio Jonah Hill remake. Smoke crack with me, bro.
Not a lot.
Just enough.
It's enough. Just one hit of crack, and then he's like, I think I need more.
Gets you back to normal.
The Danish do everything better, even alcoholism.
Amen.
Hell yeah.
Dude, Lake Run sounds fucking fun. Like
it does sound fun. I'm not gonna lie.
it's like field day. We did that, but there was no alcohol.
Yeah.
Field day.
Well, it's the alcohol that makes it fun.
I think we should all find a lake and do a lake run.
Well, I called the after party the lake run around the Copenhagen Lake after party, or like, yeah.
I'm only sure of 2 things. I'm gonna start drinking tomorrow, and I feel like dancing.
Amen.
Why not start drinking now?
Wasn't that originally a Kierkegaard saying? But I don't know.
You should find Go-Go, add that person, and just comment that.
You liked it that much? Okay, Conan.
Go.
I feel like dancing tonight.
This is why I only smoke weed.
Oh, come on.
Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Delicious.
This movie made me want to kick back, not get drunk, but like go out and socialize and just have enough to drink that I'm like, this is fun.
There are like 8 people called Go-Go right on.
Oh no!
I'm not hunting for them. But why do you got to pit weed against alcohol? I mean, they're friends forever.
I don't know. No punctuation, no capitalization. Just
yeah. This guy's a Puritan. He's a weed Puritan, and I'm not down with that.
Weed Puritan.
Will Bell, you know what? Does he have weed in his profile, like in his profile thing? It looks like.
Or those look like laser eyes.
I can't tell.
Those aren't stars. Those are pot leaves.
I give this movie 5 pot leaves.
Gort. Oh, okay. Sorry, he switched. Yeah. Isn't that Gort? Okay, go ahead.
This movie is about dudes rocking. Facts.
Yep.
I mean, he gave it 5 stars, but did he really get it?
And he liked it too.
Dudes were indeed rocking. I cannot deny. Those are the Letterboxd one-liners for another round. You can, of course, follow the show, Moving Extravaganza, which is your host, Forrest, over there. I am Conan Neutron. You may follow me on Letterboxd as well. I'm all over that biz. J. Andrew World at the Comedy Cellar is watching all the things that you never knew existed and you don't know why they exist.
That looks more like the Village Underground, I'll just have to say. Anyway.
I'm Christina down over there. Letterboxd, more and more people are talking about it. The Johnny Depp thing still is yet to happen that I've seen, but that's okay. We trust her. She's a busy lady. And of course, the king of Letterboxd himself, Langdon Boom, Matthew Film Guy. Credit where credit's due. on Letterboxd before I ever joined it. So the king, henceforth, you're the king of it. Even when you're staggeringly
I came into it late too. Like I was like, where's this been? But it had been up and running for years. So I defer to the others. But thank you very much, Conan.
So
I wonder if Drill was the first person on there because all the reviews are from 2012 or something.
There is a certain amount of OG Letterboxd users. I mean, for me, it was all about the watch list. That's why my film log on Instagram is Who Watches the Watch List, because I thought that was a funny play.
I was writing all the movies I'd seen down on a goddamn notebook for like 25 years before I figured that thing out. So
I had papyrus and a quill. But,
you win. You win.
Man, I thought I was going to go old school with Diaryland.
Diaryland.
No,
wow.
You can't get older than papyrus. He actually presses his own papyrus.
I do. It's a flex. As a flex, yeah.
No, that's a real good one.
J. Andrew World, please take it away with the plugs.
All right.
Hit it.
If you are watching us right now on Twitch, subscribe if you can. And if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe for free. That helps us out. That gives us money. Bada bing, bada boom. We love you for it. If you're watching us over on YouTube, do the YouTube things, like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell so you know whenever we go live. And of course, the big ask, watch the video to the end. But, to do that, we help you out with that kick-ass Conan Neutron song.
There you go. Exactly. It does indeed kick ass. And it is indeed written by me and recorded by me for this show.
If you want to be listening to this right now and not thinking about where Forrest went, you can do so.
Or where Matthew's going to go.
You don't have to draw attention to it. That's not the law, right? Like, you don't have to mention it on camera.
Unless you want me to do it on camera, then a huge ball of wax there.
Stu Spasm did do that in Controversial. He did pee on and that was a first. And I'm like, well, there you go. Good thing it's on the internet. Go ahead.
But the point is you wouldn't notice it because we would in fact be in an audio form on the podcast version wherever you find your podcast. So if you find your podcast, wherever you choose to listen to your podcast.
What?
Like,
please write us. That completely fell apart. That was I got where you're going, and then I'm like,
so distracted by you.
like there's no I can't. I'm trying to be kind about this, but I just can't. That fell the fuck apart really bad.
Yes, I mean,
it was the moving around. Is this what we were doing? Is this bothering you? We're not touching you. We're not touching you.
Hey, Matthew Blue guy's been drinking. Don't fuck him up right now. Whoa!
As long as we all vomit at the same time, we'll gain time back.
I really like the story, by the way, of him telling. I thought it was his grandma or his mom at first when he was telling, because I heard 65 and I heard I guess his kid's name is Nana.
Daughter.
But his daughter. I like the story of the one being like, shouldn't you say something about like her doing the lake run? Like, isn't it? And like what the teachers will be there. I don't
yeah.
Okay,
Anyway,
as I was trying to get out before,
right.
we have a podcast version, so you won't notice whenever one of our hosts disappear. Or understand why we all just cracked.
Tetris. Or,
wait, no. I feel like I'm in the Phantom Zone.
This would be such a funny time.
This is the results of alcohol consumption.
This would be such a funny time to pull on somebody else. Like to pull on like if all of a sudden like Sam Cedar appeared or something and we're just like looking around like, wait,
what a nightmare.
We accidentally pull out like
pull out.
That's what Andy take his breath there. I feel like I need to catch my breath after that. Oh, that's exhausting.
Okay. Yes. I don't even.
That's a great visual gag, though. You got it.
I don't know why you guys haven't done the whole boxes bouncing around thing before.
It's like Kong,
boxes bouncing around, all over the screen.
Right.
And we have a fucking podcast. Like and subscribe. Wherever you get your podcast from. Give us a fucking review. There.
I like the version on that.
Blew it up again.
We have a Patreon. You can give us money.
Fucking money.
You can see our after parties. It's like this. But I'm not usually yelling at people.
If we can just get 10 people to give us $1,000.
After parties involve so much boxes bouncing around.
It's a bargain at twice the price.
But the beauty of the after party, the beauty of the Patreon is that you get the after parties forever.
After party forever. After party forever. Sadly, that's the best time we've ever done that, by the way.
Yeah.
Really hard bit to do, but we commit to it nonetheless because we do it.
Yes.
I enjoyed it. I was like an audience member right then.
That's good.
Yeah, because I don't think you've ever you haven't been here since we've broken it a song.
I like it.
It all started from trolling me because I do this badly sometimes. Like,
it's just it's a long bit, and we got to break it up. Really,
it is.
I mean,
it is.
Open
it
up
is.
the skirt a little. Yeah.
We're getting into the territory of over
But
an hour and a half.
we're getting close to the end. We're getting close to the end here because
Are we?
Christina has a Twitch.
I want all
You got
10
anything,
people watching this right now to go follow me on Twitter at Langdon Boom. So
Yeah, I'll get there. I'll get to you. Right now, we're talking about Christina.
I'm never gonna get to it in time. I'm just gonna do my own.
Because guess what? I've got a biological limit to my moment. Sorry. Guys.
Anyways, yeah, Christina has a Patreon as well. Please support that. Conan has a great show called Platonic Reversal. He has a new band project called Action
Chief. Action Chief. It's
Action
2 words.
Chief.
You can remember Conan and the Secret Friends, but you can't remember Action Chief, huh? All right.
I will. We'll say Action Pack, and I'm just like, no, that's not right.
The secret friend zone.
Damn, Thunder.
Well, look, once you get out of the secret friend zone, you might get some action, Chief. Huh?
Hey!
There you go. And I haven't written down your new album yet for Action Chief, which I think is just the solos.
Just the solos, yeah.
Okay, great. I got that. Amazing.
Just
from
the
my
solos
brain.
are what you're doing when you're in the friend zone, by the way.
Hey!
Oh.
Save it for the after party.
Now, the Platonic Reversal also has a Patreon. That Patreon gets you episodes early. Who you got coming up this week, Conan?
This is the guy from Karl Marx, Carl Shane.
Wait, you're having Karl Marx on?
What? Karl Marx, not Karl. And the Stefan Edgerton episode from last week has been up for patrons for a little while, and that seems to be something that people are enjoying. So, indeed.
Fantastic. And also subscribe to
Karl Marx,
Platonic
New York
Reversal on YouTube.
Yes. Do the things that Andy just said.
Yes. And Matthew, you got any projects coming up?
Not really. I'm looking for my next movie editing gig at the moment. But if people want to interact with me for any reason, you can follow me at Twitter at Langdon Boom. But more likely, you could go follow me on Letterboxd at also Langdon Boom or Matthew Film Guy on there if you want to search around for me. And I'd love to talk movies with whomever. So thank you guys, and it was great being here.
So we're gonna do as long as they give the right amount of stars to the movie. That's
yeah.
Well, I usually follow only people whose 4 top movies are ones that I abide by. So, you can follow me, but unless you pass muster, I ain't following you back.
Wow. I didn't even think about that. What are mine? It's probably like Network, Brazil. Let's see if I got this right.
You passed muster.
Network, Brazil, Big Lebowski, and The Player. Yeah, there we go. Pretty good.
I got Army of
Just
Darkness.
made it
The
over the
Crow,
line. Just
Return of the Jedi.
I told Angry Man on for a while.
it's hard to choose your favorite Lumet. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Was that it for the plugs, Andy?
I think so.
Cool. I think
All
so.
right.
We need an ending on that.
Well, starting with our old friend over here, Matthew Film Guy, I want to hear some final thoughts.
Huh?
I said I want to hear some final thoughts.
Oh, okay.
Not like in life, but on this film.
Or in life,
or in life, if that's your deal. I mean,
listen, another round. It's like I said at the beginning. It's the kind of movie that makes me happy to be alive. Now, I don't think every great movie is the same kind of movie that makes me happy to be alive. But when I find one that is, I think, masterfully told, and also has that kind of joie de vivre and instills in me that feeling of ecstasy that it is attempting to portray on the screen, I know I'm in the hands of a master. And I had only ever seen Vinterberg's first, his Dogma movie, Celebration. And that was a huge inspiration at the time for a lot of reasons, but another movie that I love. So this was a huge surprise for me. And I'm just really glad that you guys brought me on to talk about it because I love it. And as Conan alluded to, it's criminally underseen because it's not a English language movie. I really hope that someday I find the right amount of blood alcohol content to maintain because
the right amount of back.
What? Right amount
right
of
amount
no,
of back.
that I know exactly how to do. The alcohol is harder for me to titrate. But anyway, thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, man.
Really had a great time being here with you all and talking about this movie.
Thanks. Christina, let's hear some rapid fire final thoughts. Everybody, I just,
Rapid fire. Okay.
May I be excused? Sorry.
Yeah.
Go pee, man.
Do I hit the leave studio button or will that screw me over?
Here, just go ahead. I'll take care of it for you, Dan. Don't worry about it.
So yeah, I absolutely love this movie because I'm a huge Mads Mikkelsen fan, and I'm always into like foreign film, especially like Danish cinema. And I mean, I understand like the whole like existential crisis situation. Like we've all been there, done that. I mean, they say once you're 30, your youth is just, But it also goes to show that there's nuances when it comes to drinking and alcohol and all that. So like it's important to, as I said earlier, a little goes a long way. And I feel like this film does an excellent job at showing that. And Leonardo DiCaprio, no.
Reconsider.
Yes, reconsider.
He's a walking midlife crisis. He doesn't need to be in a movie about it.
Yeah,
exactly.
We don't
But just do it like you did the Akira movie. Don't.
Yeah.
But Conan?
Yeah, look, high-minded social experiment or middle-aged mediocrity hall pass. Why not both? Alcoholism, as I mentioned, that it runs in my family. I don't think it's a joke. I've lost people to it, but this movie has some incredibly funny moments, and there's a deep heart and poignancy to it all. The temporary annihilation of self, and getting past ego, I think is very profound, and I think there's a lot of truth to it, whether that be the modus operandi or not. And I think this movie shows a lot of that without being preachy about it. And it doesn't do it in a way that other movies about drinking or heavily involving drinking does. And I think that's an accomplishment in and of itself. So it's impeccably acted, it's well scripted and directed, it's quality film, and all that's without the this absolutely exuberant and iconic final scene, which is incredible. So I love this movie, and I'm really glad we talked about it.
All right, Andy.
I just want to give a hat tip to What Culture who put me onto this movie, even though I didn't watch it until today. But it's been something I've been wanting to watch because of them. They're the same people who told me about Star and Barb Go to Vista Del Mar, which is also a fantastic film. Thanks to that.
That could be the sequel, because it's actually Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, but that could be the sequel. It's the same movie, but they just flip get the top billing.
Yes, that's yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to get to my thoughts here, and I've completely screwed everything up.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm usually not the one to get pedantic, but since
which
that's
is weird because
basically
you and I. Milk.
Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar is basically championed by Andrew World and myself only, apparently. But
I'm sorry, I missed that. Is that a movie?
Yeah, it is a movie.
Yeah,
it's comedy.
Yeah, it's a great comedy. It's very
really good.
Say the title again.
Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar.
Never mind. I was gonna make a joke and ruin it, but
everything about the movie, like if you read the description or see who's in it, you're just like hard pass, and then you actually watch the movie and you're like, oh, this is fun. This is that's it.
Same person that turned you onto that movie turned you on to another round, is what you're saying.
Yes, but I didn't get to watch it until today because I didn't fucking realize it was on Hulu because I'm an idiot.
I literally told you in the group chat. Whatever. You know what? I'm not gonna. I'll save it for the after party.
Guys, don't fight. Save it.
Yeah, you think I listen to you? No, sometimes I don't read all those messages. I just skip. Anyway,
you're the author of most of them. You know what? Yeah, I'll save it for the after party.
So, anyways, this was a great watch because it's philosophy applied in a way that I can fully appreciate. unlike Ben show sometimes. So, good for that. And
Catching flack, Ben Burgess.
All right. Well, I wanted to read this this beautiful poem by Scarlet Pleasure. And the poem goes, "What a life, what a night, what a beautiful, beautiful ride. Don't know where I'm in 5, but I'm young and alive. Fuck what they're saying. What a life."